What's up, members of D12? It is your commissioner back at it again, coming at you with some power rankings. We'll do a couple of these a day for the next few days, I think. Only one today. But we're going to go ahead and start with team number 12. And if you haven't already figured out who that is, we got this nice little format here. That is the St. Louis Pseudopods. Who's Richard, anyway? So, I mean, you can see the format that I got. Got the logo, got the font, I got the projected starting lineup, got the wins futures over here. So this is what the projections tell you should happen, or what could happen, and the likelihood of that getting a certain number of wins. And then I got some of the Vegas lines for making the playoffs, winning your division, winning the championship, finishing in the money, and finishing last. So let's jump right in to number 12. Not a surprise here. The Pseudopods, formerly Pulsating Rhino Nuts, or what was left of Pulsating Rhino Nuts after Brian was done dismantling this team before he pulled a Brian and quit the league. Not a whole lot going on for this team. Ryan Fitzpatrick, on a normal team, at best a quarterback 3. If we look at his depth, he did sign Jimmy Garoppolo for 5 years. Maybe that's who he plays until Brady gets back, but then he's got Blaine Gabbert. San Francisco sucks. Josh McCown, I don't even think he's playing. And that's a stable of quarterbacks right there. So I've got Ryan Fitzpatrick penciled in as his long-term starter for this year. But it is not pretty even behind that. And the starters suck as well. If we look at wide receivers, it's not completely terrible here. He's got Eric Decker, Willie Snead, and Bruce Ellington. Decker coming off a double-digit touchdown season last season, and he does have Fitzpatrick and Decker. So every time Decker gets a touchdown, his quarterback will also get a touchdown. I have a tough time seeing him repeat that double digits. Willie Snead, he's paying $52. It is already an expiring contract, though. Elected not to take advantage of the decreasing salaries. So because it's an expiring contract, because I don't anticipate St. Louis making a playoff run, I see Willie Snead getting traded this year. That is his best trade asset. I'll talk about another one here shortly. But he might be able to get something for him if a playoff team gets in desperate need of a wide receiver down the stretch. Bruce Ellington, someone has to catch the ball in San Francisco, I guess. San Fran might struggle to put up 14 points a game, though. So, I mean, I guess he could throw in the combination of Blaine Gabbert and Bruce Ellington. He does have Chris Hogan down as one of his flexes. Could be a really good play. Could be a complete bust. New England, you never really know what's going to go on down there. Brady does like his wide receivers, as is evidenced between Gronkowski, Julian Edelman, Danny Amendola, and now we got Chris Hogan as well. I have stock in Hogan in another league. I'm hoping for good things for him. I don't know that it's really going to pan out, but it could. Oh yeah, Tigers. It could really pan out. Maybe he becomes Julian Edelman light. There are a lot of mouths to feed in New England, but that should be a high-powered offense. His second probable trade target, something that he can trade away later on in the season, and that's DeMarco Murray. Right now, DeMarco just got signed to Tennessee. I think they're going to use him. They did draft Derrick Henry, but this year and possibly next year, not that he's worried about next year at this point because Murray is an expiring contract, but I think that they're going to feed Murray. I don't think Tennessee plans on doing a whole lot this year, so they want to save Henry, I think, for future years. They're going to run DeMarco into the ground, and I think that DeMarco can actually be a really good play, but that's where his running backs stop because he's got nothing but backups or third stringers behind that. So I got penciled in Jerick McKinnon as his RB2. Maybe Peterson starts beating kids again. Jerick becomes startable. Then he's got some guys that could be dropped, as far as I'm concerned. Kennel Hunter, Donald Brown, Lance Dunbar, see ya. He doesn't need the cap room, so maybe he doesn't drop them. But then he does have an interesting trio of rookie wide receivers that are sitting behind, we'll say, potentially injury-prone or haven't really proven themselves starters. We'll start with Jordan Howard. All offseason, Chicago is trying to get a new running back to replace Jeremy Langford. They couldn't get it. I think that they go get a running back in the draft next year. But they did pick up Jordan Howard in the draft this past offseason. So I think right now he's behind both Langford and Carey, but neither one of those guys are anything special. Jordan Howard could sneak in some work as the season progresses. Same with Smallwood. Philadelphia, new system now that Chip Kelly is gone. They do have Ryan Matthews, who can never stay healthy. They do have Darren Sproles, who's like 38 years old. And then they got Smallwood, who, if everything falls right, could make some noise. And then he also picked up Tyler Irvin, backup for the Houston Texans. Lamar Miller, fantastic season last season. I think he has another great season this season, if he can hold up. So if he doesn't, I think that Irvin gets the next shot. And if Miller were to go down, could be a decent play. And then his other running back is Kristen Michael. It's Seattle. Whoever's toting the rock there is going to get some fantasy points. Who knows if Rawls goes down? Is it going to be Michael? Is it going to be Precise? They also drafted Alex Collins. A lot of potential guys there. Whoever steps up could be a decent play. So as far as his running backs are concerned, he's got one guy that he can play with confidence right now. He's got like 5 or 6 other guys that, if everything breaks just right for him, he could play. Tight end, he's got an old guy, guy that never lived up to the hype, and Vance McDonald. Antonio Gates still putting up numbers. Does have him signed until 2019. I doubt that he makes it that long. Jordan Cameron, I'd stock in him last year. Just disappointing week in and week out. And then I already mentioned Vance McDonald. So, and we're not going to talk about kickers because kickers are worthless. They're all the same. So, starting lineup doesn't look that great. He's got some potential guys. Oh, I didn't talk about his backup wide receivers. He does have one guy that I really, really like. I wish I had room for him on my roster. I was running out of money, but that's Eli Rogers. If he could sneak in as Pittsburgh Steelers wide receiver 3, he could have a fantastic year. We know that Martavis can't stay off the ganja. Marquise Lee could be in line for wide receiver 3 in Jacksonville. Patterson can be dropped. Colston, how is he not dropped yet? And that rounds out his team. So not a whole lot of good-looking players on the Pseudopods. He knew that from the get-go. If we look over at his wins future, I think that this is even a little high. My simulation, they kind of push everything towards the center. It's really hard to predict teams to finish with very few wins or very many wins. I really want to make an exception for St. Louis. I think best case scenario, he wins 3 games. Looks like the peak is between 4 and 5 games for him, according to the simulation. Maybe he gets there. I just don't see it. Then we can go down and we can look at all the Vegas lines. He's doesn't have the worst odds of making the playoffs or the worst division odds because the rest of that division is so crappy. It's 3 of the bottom 4 teams, basically, no matter which set of rankings you look at. It won't take you long to figure out who the fourth one out of that is. But yeah, plus 350 to make the playoffs, plus 410 to win the division. Those two are really, really close to each other because he's probably not getting a wild card. If you're feeling really, really lucky, throw 100 bones down on him winning the championship. You would profit almost $2,100, plus 400 or plus 395 to finish in the money. And then his best odds actually are finishing in dead last at plus 285. I think that those are actually pretty good odds because I think that he has a very good chance of finishing dead last. Although, if we look back to last year and Bork, Pontiac pit stop last year, now DDP, bang. Finished the regular season 0-13, yet still beat me in the playoffs. I've got the license plate frame to prove it. So, I'm going to predict 2 wins. 2-11 for the Pseudopods. He has no draft picks that he could make his team better if he was somehow in the division hunt. He's looking at a couple years before he's even really all that competitive. So I had the Pseudopods finishing 2-11, and they are my number 12 team. I will be back tomorrow with team number 11 for sure, and probably team number 10 as well. Peace.